Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Mayor Reynolds, aka Midnight Mayor here, coming at you with another dead drop video. Today we're going to talk about weapons. We've got several videos on the channel talking about dead drop's weapon meta, the current weapon meta, ideas for future weapons, so on and so forth. But today I want to talk about what I think needs to change about the current weapons. I'm going to take you through every weapon and tell you what I think needs to be changed about it, if it should be buffed, nerfed, how it should be adjusted, and then we're also going to get into some speculation. But if you want to see those other videos about that, check them all out. They're all on the channel. And let's start with the sniper, which we all know is the best weapon in dead drop. So the sniper rifle is by far my favorite weapon in dead drop, and in my opinion, dead drop contains the best sniping since like PUBG probably. You know, when there's games that just feel great with a sniper rifle, dead drop is one of them. The sniper feels perfect. I don't want them to change anything. The amount it hits for, the one-shot headshots are so satisfying. The rate that you can fire it, the bullet drop, this thing is perfect. Please, Midnight Society, if you're taking anything from this video, do not change the sniper rifle. It's absolutely perfect. This is going to be the easiest weapon to talk about in this video because the thing is, it feels amazing. It is amazing to use in the game. The results are perfect. Don't change the sniper, please. Let's talk about the DMR, which at one point was Dead Drop Snapshot 5's best weapon, and I'm recording this video right now during Dead Drop Snapshot 5. We are now in Dead Drop Snapshot 5.1. There's been balance changes, and the DMR was hit extremely hard. This thing was basically the gun that could do everything at the start of the snapshot. You could beam people from a distance, you could shoot up close from the hip, and now it's had its damage nerf, it's had its range nerf. They've basically taken it out of the meta altogether, which it was so dominant it was probably necessary. But right now, I think this weapon needs a buff in several ways. They've adjusted it so far in one direction, probably just to get people to test other guns, to be honest with you, because the DMR was just so good. It was like a 3-tap from a range. It was insane. DMR, if you don't know, stands for Direct Marksman Rifle. So this thing should be best at mid to long range. It should really excel there. Right now, where it's at, it does not. There's damage drop off at a range. They've nerfed the damage. It's not horrible, like it's definitely still usable, but they've basically made it so you can't contest a sniper with it at a range very well anymore. But there were some nerfs that were needed. The hip fire thing was a serious problem. This gun should not have great hip fire. You don't want people using it as that all-purpose gun like it was in the early Snapshot 5. So what I think they should do is buff the damage a little bit, but and get rid of some of the damage drop off. Right now it's pretty extreme at ranges, like it only hits for like 16, I think, at long range. Like increase that damage a little bit, make it again better at a longer range like it was. Not as strong, but just make it the second best ranged weapon after the sniper rifle, right? And then, like I said, keep it so the hip fire is under control. You don't want people really using it up close. If they have a shorter range weapon, basically that shorter range weapon should be the go-to in most cases. So that's what I'd like to see done to the DMR. Increase that mid to long range capability a bit, again, by increasing the damage, reducing the damage drop off, but then, like I said, keep the hip fire on this thing very inaccurate and unreliable. So let's talk about the assault rifle, the main assault rifle of the game, which is what I'm using in this clip right here. I get a double kill with it. The assault rifle's really pretty decent, but it doesn't excel at really anything. The hip fire's not bad. The mid-range isn't bad. It does pretty well in those situations. Right now, the LMG is better in most situations, which I'm going to talk about. So I think actually the hip fire on this rifle, and I just realized my audio's on in this video, really the hip fire on this rifle should be better than the LMGs. It should be more reliable. It should be more accurate. The LMG really should not be very reliable from the hip. And I hate to say this, maybe the LMG should even slow you down more when you have it out, so it is more cumbersome, because you really want the AR to be that weapon that at mid-range or even close range can be versatile, but not too powerful, obviously. So I think the damage is really okay on this gun for the most part. I think it's really just the LMG in comparison is the problem, which I'm going to talk about right now. So here's a clip of me torching a couple guys with the LMG, and right now what the LMG is really, really good for, it's got a giant mag, it's 60 rounds by default, I think it gets up to 90 with the extended mag. You can shoot this thing for days, it does good damage, but from the hip, it is just a beast. Like, especially with the blue laser, you're gonna just, it's so forgiving, not only because it is accurate from the hip, but because you can shoot for so long with this thing. I think we really need to kind of get a swap on this. I think the LMG needs to become a lot less accurate, especially from the hip. So right now, the play style with it is to just run up to people and just shoot, and it's gonna kill them. Like, it's the LMG does the rest, right? I think you want to take this thing. I'm fine with the larger magazine size. That's kind of what an LMG is for. But I think it's a little too accurate, especially from the hip. And they really need to make sure that the rifle is the preferred when it comes to from the hip close-up stuff. You know, that basic assault rifle needs to be the better of the two. It just does. For balance reasons, that's what has to happen. The LMG is very strong right now, and I don't think it can remain this strong going forward for the balance of the game. So one of my favorite weapons in Dead Drop is actually the SMG. This thing is very, very good. It has a clip of 40 to start, which is very reliable. The hip fire is very reliable. Up close, it's absolutely what you want to be using in many cases, except the LMG is very strong, like I talked about in the video. But the SMG is the gun that you want to be very good up close and from the hip, right? And I do like it a lot right now, very, very much. I don't think they need to change this gun much at all. Obviously, the one weird thing about it right now is that it takes a rifle extended mag. You wouldn't know that because the color of it is green like the pistols. I think they need to create a whole category for the SMGs, to be honest with you. And I have a proposal for that, which I'll talk about in a minute, for the second SMG and maybe even the third SMG. But as far as this SMG goes, it is very good. An extended mag gives it 60 rounds, which again, you could kill a lot of people with 60 rounds with the SMG close up. You can jump, move. It's very accurate from the hip, especially with the blue laser. And I think the SMG is in a really good place overall. Other than maybe the sniper rifle, this is the gun that I think is closest to where it needs to be in the meta with its current balance. Okay, this clip right here, I duel somebody. This was during pistol only night. But anyway, I have a heavy pistol with an 8x scope on it, which is essentially the magnum of the game. I also think this is a gun that has extreme potential in Dead Drop's weapon meta that it is not achieving at all right now. Pretty much every other gun in the game fulfills its role better than the heavy pistol right now, and is better. When you see the heavy pistol, you pretty much don't even need to pick it up. It's too, you only get 6 rounds, especially without a magazine, extended magazine. And here, like, yeah, I kill this guy from a range. It works out. I've got a sniper scope on the thing, for God's sakes. This was more for lulz. What I think the heavy pistol needs to be is either like a true, really big magnum, or like a Desert Eagle in a lot of other games, right? I think you need to be able to 2-tap people in the head with this thing, regardless of armor. Maybe 3 to 4 body shots. But here's my balance thing. Don't give it an extended mag. Give it only 6 shots. This should be a high-risk, high-reward weapon. And if you're moving around a lot with this thing and you're hitting headshots, it should be like a wingman in Apex, right? Like very, very punishing weapon. If you're missing your shots, however, somebody with an SMG or a rifle or whatever at mid or close range should beat you. It's a high-risk, high-reward weapon. You want to do a lot of damage, but if you miss your shots, you're going to have to reload and make yourself vulnerable. To do that, I think we're going to need to increase the damage on the heavy pistol. And again, I'm recommending that you don't even let this gun have an extended mag. Keep it 6 shots per magazine. Just increase the damage to increase that high-risk, high-reward factor. Because when you hit your shots with this thing, it's going to feel super satisfying if we get the changes that I want. This is a gun that most of you are going to be very familiar with because you get to use it a lot. Every time you respawn as a Sin, you get this gun. It is the auto pistol. This gun really is better than it has any right to be right now. It's not like amazing, right? But it's very, very, very serviceable. I think it's in a really good place. I would even dare say it might be a little too strong for a gun that you can spawn with as a Sin. And you can really just ape people like I basically just did. You see me pull off some kind of John Wick play here where I jump down, grab a ledge, and get in on this third party here. It's very accurate from the hip, which is how I tend to shoot it. I move around a lot. I play around cover, play around corners, and you just hold down the trigger. With an extended mag, you get 30-some rounds, which is very high, especially for a pistol. So here's what I think they need to do to this thing. Convert the auto pistol into the second SMG. And by doing that, I think you totally change the model on it, and you basically make it the Uzi of Dead Drop. Don't give it to Sins as the starting weapon. Use the basic semi-auto pistol for that. But just convert this thing to a second SMG, the Uzi. So in order to do that, I would give it a larger magazine, but it would obviously be ground loop instead of a weapon that you can spawn with. That's my idea. My other ideas for other SMGs is something like a Vector, like a Chris Vector in a lot of other games. Something with a very, very fast TTK, but you blow through your magazine like quickly, almost like as soon as you pull a trigger, right? A gun like that I think would be fun in the Dead Drop meta. Don't have footage to show you guys the semi-auto pistol and the burst pistol because I don't use them very much, to be honest with you, but this is what I'll say. The burst pistol is probably better than you think it is. It can kill very fast if you hit your shots. I think it's in a pretty good place. I'm not sure how I feel about it, to be honest with you. I don't think they really need to change it much, if at all. I just think I would personally rather have the auto pistol, but I don't think they really need to change the burst pistol. I think it's in a good place. Same with the semi-auto pistol. I don't think it's bad. I think it's kind of slept on because almost everybody uses the auto pistol instead. So I think I'd like to see that semi-auto pistol buffed just a tad teensy weensy bit, because you definitely have to try more to hit your shots. And again, I'd like to see that become the weapon that Sins have to start with, that basic semi-auto pistol. I don't think you need to change either the burst pistol or the semi-auto pistol all that much right now. I think they're fine the way they kick off our shotgun category. Let's go with a double barrel. This thing is a beast. It does exactly what you want a double barrel to do. You can one or two shot anybody from very close range. If you're close range, you're gonna one shot somebody, which is what you want from a double barrel. It feels extremely strong, and like it's one of those high risk, high reward guns, right? Because if you miss your two opening shots, you either have to reload unless you have an extended mag, which gives it 3 shots, or switch guns. So right now, I think this thing is perfect. It does its job. It's very strong. Some people might feel that it's overpowered, but I love how you can do these sweet like 180 and 360 one pumps or two. This thing even at mid range is pretty solid. But overall, I don't want it changed at all. Feels great, feels strong. And in general, my approach to weaponry is when you can, don't nerf guns, bring other guns up, to make them feel as potent and as deadly. Obviously, there are limits. There's times where you absolutely have to nerf guns, but the double barrel feels good, does its job. Love it. Don't sleep on it. Here's one that I finally got time to experiment with, the ranged shotgun. Did you guys just see me snipe that guy with a ranged shotgun and an 8x scope on it? This gun is very, very strong. Like when it says ranged shotgun, like they really mean it. This thing is strong in a range. You can literally snipe people. It's not a one shot, but 56, 14, and then three shots, full health. That guy's dead at that range with a shotgun. So I think the concept of this weapon is very interesting. I do think, to be honest with you, it's gonna need a bit of a nerf. The range is quite extreme. It does have eventual damage drop off. Like if you're literally trying to shoot somebody who's on crane and you're all the way over by the sky bridge, you can't hit them, which is good. That's the way it should be. But I think they might need to reduce that a little bit. The range is very long. I mean, you really shouldn't be able to rock this thing with an 8x, right? I mean, that's pretty crazy. Maybe just make it so you can't even attach an 8x at all to help with that range problem a little bit too. Max out at the 2-4x sight and call it good there. But this thing right now is a beast, and I recommend you guys having some fun with it. Just slight nerf to the range, probably, even though that is the concept. I've had an idea of like, should they take this gun and make it something like a bolt action, almost like a Winchester or something? I don't know, but the concept's very interesting. I just think it needs a slight range reduction. Next up is the pump shotgun, and this one is interesting. Every game virtually has a pump shotgun in it, and the pump shotgun in Dead Drop is very strong. Here it is. It's very fun to use. The thing about this thing is it shoots very, very fast. In this clip, I hit a shot where this is what I want it to do. I want it to be a gun that you shoot once or twice, and if you hit those shots, the person is dead. Not as strong as a double barrel, obviously. I think the base magazine holds 6 shots, if I'm not mistaken. But right now it shoots so fast, there's not even that much difference between this thing and an auto shotgun. So what I would really like to see it change to shoot a little bit slower. Okay, if it's 8 by default, not even 6. shoot a little bit slower, but hit a little bit harder. And it should have longer range than a double barrel. So ideally, what you want this thing to do is you want people to play around cover with it and almost like peek around corners, pop shots with this thing, peek back around, cock it again, come back around, shoot. That's the play style you want with this thing. So I think slowing down its shots, but boosting its damage is really what they need to do with the pump to make it feel like a pump and really give it a pace of play to be mastered rather than just another gun to be spammed in close quarters combat. That's what the auto shotty's for. The auto shotgun feels good. It suits the way it fires, the way it acts. Definitely is what they want from an auto shotgun as far as how it plays and how to use it. And sorry, OLAP, I apologize in advance for this clip. But I think to balance this thing out, what they're going to need to do is make it a little more rare. In a lot of games, auto shotguns would be, you want them to be strong. Like an auto shotgun is almost like a power weapon. Like that's insane, right? Like an AA-12 in real life is nuts. So I think they should make it a little bit more rare on the map, first of all. But then in addition to that, I think they just, again, they need to take the shotguns and carve out their role in general a little more. Slow down that pump. Make the auto shotgun, not as prominent, because right now it's super strong. It's very forgiving. You can just basically hold down the trigger and just put bullets everywhere. And that's kind of the fun of it. But you really got to balance these carefully, because a lot of shotguns, think of the EVA 8 in Apex Legends, for example. There's been times where the EVA 8 has just been nerfed. Like its damage is so low. It doesn't even feel good. Like, okay, sure, I've got this auto shotgun, which is cool. And it's fun to use, but the damage is so low, it's not even worth using. So I think they got to be very careful. A lot of people are upset right now, not even upset, but the feedback has been that shotguns are too strong in general. I just want to make sure that the shotguns don't get nerfed to the point where they don't fulfill their purpose. Those hard-hitting, intimidating guns. That's what a shotgun should be. And yes, maybe the auto shotgun needs some looking at, but don't nerf it to the point where like it's not even worth using in comparison to an SMG or something like that up close, right? It's got to be potent, and I think the best thing they can do is keep it potent, just make it a little more rare so not everybody can run one all the time. Okay, so I've done speculation about this in other videos before, but let's take a minute to just talk about potential new weapons in DEADROP that could be added in the future to fill some new place in the weapons sandbox and so on and so forth, because that'll also, it affects how other weapons can function, right? And how other weapons can be balanced, because every weapon should fulfill a certain role, a certain play style, and you don't want weapons that are all too similar. You want them to all be unique. So other guns I'd like to see added to DEADROP, or maybe changes that you could see, coming to the weapon meta in the future. Something like an AK-47. How about an assault rifle of some kind that has actual high recoil and is quite hard to control, but maybe does, pretty high damage. I think that'd be something that would be fun, probably more difficult to balance, but I think it could really suit its place. Recoil in DEADROP right now isn't too tough to combat. I probably think that's going to see some changes in the future. There will probably be a snapshot where we're going to see like full scale recoil changes to weapons. Again, speculation on my part, but kind of just how I feel in general. I'd like to see something like a burst rifle. We have a burst pistol, something like an M16, or dare I say the battle rifle from Halo. It's something we don't have yet, something that could be another, high skill weapon. Maybe if you hit the full burst, it does a lot of damage, but obviously you can burn through ammo quite quick with it. Maybe it has a smaller magazine, something like an M16 or something like that. I think could have a place in DEADROP for sure. And then again, I've already talked about my ideas for a whole SMG category that would solve the extended mag situation as well. And then LMGs. I'm not a big fan of LMGs in games, but obviously the LMG we have right now is very potent. I talked about it. I think it needs to be nerfed, especially the hipfire. But what if we had a second LMG, something that maybe had a smaller mag, similar to maybe like the Rampage in Apex Legends that shot slow but hit really hard. So when you hear somebody shooting it, it's like, oh man, like that thing's a beast. All the sounds to these guns, I'm sure, are going to change over time. I don't think these are final sounds at all, by the way. But then there's other, some fun stuff. This is a different universe where kind of like the 80s and 90s, that kind of future that we thought about in the 80s and 90s. So maybe they do something like, a, dare I say, like a laser gun or something to do with the climate wars, right? Like I wrote a short story where ozone bombs were a thing. So maybe you have a grenade at some point that like takes the ozone out of the area. This is totally fictional. I'm not a scientist, by the way, but makes the air in that area unbreathable. That kind of thing. Like maybe they have some fun with their universe and create some weapons that are unique to the DEADROP universe in this alternate reality that we're living in. There's been a lot of talk about melee weapons. I personally do not think melee weapons are a good idea at this point. I think, you know, the way the game plays, gunplay wise, I think if you had melee weapons in this game, I think that really clutters up the loot pool. I don't think it's a good idea. So there's that. I know our variants have a lot of cool melee weapons in them. So my idea is obviously implement a melee feature. So melee combat is a thing. You can melee somebody up close. Don't make it too strong. Please don't make it so you can like two-shot people. Punches should not be stronger than bullets, guys. But what if you did so you could get like a skin for your melee? So like almost like an Apex Legends heirloom. So it does the same damage no matter what, but you could get different skins for your melee. You know, this guy's got a bat, this guy's got a sword. Not loot you would find in the game, but things that would be part of your character, and you could change it whenever you want. Just an idea. But I do think melee has a place in the game. I just hope that they don't spend time making absolute like melee weapons. If they do, I think they need to be power weapons. Something like akin to the sword or the hammer in Halo. Like if we're gonna have melee weapons, if you're gonna take the risk to get up that close to somebody and try to kill them, it basically better be a one-shot kill, right? I don't want to sit there and be swinging at people back and forth like PUBG style, trying to hit them 25 times or something like that. So that's my general idea there. And then of course there's weapon mods, and I've speculated about this a lot in other videos as well. Will we get stuff, whether they be barrels or actual weapon mods? That system has a lot of potential. Will there be stuff like silencers? Will there be stuff like digital threat sites? A lot of different interesting creative things they could do there. Incendiary rounds, who knows? That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Let me know down in the comments what you think needs to change about every single weapon currently in DEADROP. Give me all your thoughts. Don't hold back. I'm sure the developers are listening. And subscribe to the channel, by the way. This is your #1 source for DEADROP and Midnight Society information on YouTube. Other than Midnight Society themselves, you can't beat the horse's mouth, right? So come join us in Discord, where we talk about DEADROP all the time. Come join me on Twitch, twitch.tv/MayorReynolds. We're streaming DEADROP all the time, talking about DEADROP, all sorts of crazy stuff. Check out this word from our sponsor, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Mayor Reynolds out. Video's not quite over. We've set a DEADROP tattoo sub goal on Twitch. If we reach 100 subs on Twitch during April, we're currently sitting at 49 as of this very moment. I will get a DEADROP tattoo. Okay? So come join us. Come give me your Twitch Prime sub. Let's make it happen. Thanks for watching again. See you later. This video is sponsored by me, kinda. You can use Mayor in your supporter creator slot in Fortnite and across the Epic Games Store to support me, and it costs you nothing. Part of your purchase is simply donated to me through the Epic Creator Program. So within Fortnite and within the Epic Games Store, make sure you have Mayor listed in your supporter creator slot, and you will support my content creation budget directly. Thank you to everyone who does. Let's keep this going. Make sure you're using either the Doomslayer skin or the Master Chief skin, or actually the Marcus Phoenix skin, because those are the 3 best skins in Fortnite, and we all know it.